Welcome to the San Jose Hockey Now podcast. We have a fun episode today. We are going to talk about Hasso. Hasso Plattner speaks for the first time to Sharks media in 10 years, and he did not disappoint. Explosive interview. We are going to react to that. Also, we're going to talk about losing. The Sharks have lost their first 3 games this year. We'll talk about that. And the Sharks have added a new defenseman.
Before all that, before we get to it, a quick note. This show, like always, is free. We make it because we love talking hockey. We love having Dan Boyle on, digging deep into the Sharks for the fans that bleed teal. But it's also made possible thanks to the awesome support from BringHockeyBack.net. If you know Bring Hockey Back, you know you've been repping Sharks for years with some really clever, funny t-shirts, and just a really good feel for what makes hockey culture, Sharks culture, very special. They also do beautiful custom jerseys for your beer league team. So if you're into hockey and you like to look fresh at the rink, check them out at BringHockeyBack.net. Use our promo code San Jose Hockey Now for 15% off at all things BringHockeyBack.net.
All right.
That was my first time doing it. Hope you all liked it.
And before anyone says anything, I'm switching over from satellite to fiber, and that's why I'm doing it from my phone today, so don't people bitch and complain.
They will.
They will.
I'll be up and running next week, but technical difficulties this week. So
I sound good. You look good. That's what matters.
all right.
So I saw the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Have you guys seen it yet?
No, not yet.
One Battle Left. So fucking good. You guys have
I've
to
heard
see
good
it.
things.
And so I
Aaron
thought
lose
about
$100 million.
well, all of his movies lose money. They're not for the masses for sure, but he's well funded, and that's what matters. Kind of like us and Bring Hockey Back. So
No, we love you, Bring Hockey Back.
yeah, we're well funded. Thank you.
Exactly.
And so
exactly.
no,
Zubair, why don't you tell everyone what naval base you are live
Yeah,
streaming?
looks like you got sent to North Beach.
Yeah, I'm in Mexico. ICE got me.
Ice got you. Oh my!
They think
You
I'm
do look-
Mexican, boys.
Zubair is
Before
not
you were
Mexican,
recording,
Yeah.
you had a very fruity drink in your hand, and you looked so vacation.
I'm
There
ready.
it is.
I'm ready. And by the way, that's a Ramathorn reference from Super Troopers. If you guys have seen it,
Love Super Troopers. You do?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
great.
you do.
I've been in
Love-
for Halloween before.
Yeah.
So
It's fucking great. No shit.
Our
Shit, I've
Ramrod.
seen that now.
Team Ramrod, dude. I'll drink to that.
I
So in
never
this
saw it
PTA
before
movie,
now.
there's a scene that made me think of you guys because I love Radiohead. Dan, you know that, my favorite band.
Yep.
And Johnny Greenwood does the soundtrack. And, it's Leo and Benicio del Toro running from the authorities, mucking Modelo's, like drinking and driving. And Leo's got to jump out of the car. And so Benicio tells him, like, he's hanging out the window and he can't muster the courage to, like, jump and roll because he's running from the cops. And so he's like, just do it. Like fucking Tom Cruise. No fear.
That's a line?
That's a line. And so here's the best part. I look up the soundtrack, and the song for that scene by Johnny Greenwood is Like Fucking Tom Cruise.
Wow. Great.
So I was thinking about you boys. And
That's great.
speaking of music, the thing I wanted to talk with you guys this week is the new Sharks goal song, which, have you guys heard it?
It's very popular.
Yeah. It's, yeah.
The in-house goal song, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
The in-house goal song. So I guess they got someone who's like not from like San Jose and has nothing to do with San Jose. And it sounds like a poor man's Chelsea Dagger. Yeah, it just sounds horrible. So
I've heard it
I
10
didn't like
times.
it. Yeah, we've heard it a lot in the first two,
not
which
bad.
was great. Yeah, it was great. We heard it a lot, and it's got no soul. Like whatever soul is in music, it's lacking it. And it just feels like an AI-generated tune. So I wanted to ask you guys this week, what would you guys pick for the Sharks goal song?
Well, let me
Yes.
interject, and it's probably going to derail this whole conversation, but I know in baseball, walk-up songs are like a thing. So I've always been a Not that it was something I was losing sleep over, but I like the idea of when certain guys score a goal, you play a certain song picked by that player.
Yeah,
That way,
Sharks did that a couple years ago.
It allows the fans to connect with a certain player if a certain player scores a lot, versus always hearing the same song over and over and over again. So that was, yes, there could be. You guys can chime in on what one song would be good, but I always thought it'd be great if you just have a song ready to go. When so and so scores, you play that song, and obviously you're going to hear some more than others. But it'd be nice if I don't know, somebody that scores 2 goals a year gets this.
Will Smith plays Getting Jiggy with.
No, he wouldn't. I don't think he likes that joke anymore.
That's what I would be a fan of. And of course, I think the Sharks did it for one preseason years ago, and mine was 22 by Taylor Swift. And
Nice.
I did hear it once.
Yeah.
It was cool. My girls loved it, but they never did it again. So
They
my 2
did
cents is individial goal songs.
I 100% agree. They did it during the 2019-20 season. I never quite understood why they stopped it. They had Joe Thornton did a Queen song. Which song was it?
Queen, Fat Bottom Girl.
It doesn't really matter. I think Brent Burns did the Stroke, which they stopped after 1 game. They changed. They literally did change it. Tommy Hurdo did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Nice.
Obviously for Tommy.
As long as it's PG, why not? I mean, I can understand you don't want to throw in a Rage Against the Machine fucking, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't want killing in the name. But,
Good song.
why not let the guys pick a PG song and have fun with it? And
Buffalo
the
did
NHL,
that, right?
the NHL has always been a little behind with player and fan, because
Yeah.
of our helmets.
Absolutely.
Because of our, visors. People have always said, they struggle with, the connection between the player, and the fans. And I think that's one of those things that could connect the fans with the players.
Yeah. Oh, Joe Thornton's song was Radio Gaga. Sorry, it was killing me that I couldn't remember. So Radio Gaga. But anyway, I think I've kind of heard that maybe the players didn't want to do it anymore. I'm not sure. Maybe there's a pressure to that. But I totally agree, though, that the players should do that. Should be what the Sharks do. I don't really care about this goal song either. I don't hate it. I don't like it. I don't even hear it because when a goal, I'm writing. I'm watching why the Sharks scored or why they didn't score. So I'm actually very, very boring this way. But if I was going to pick one song, though, first, actually, the song I would pick is "Fuck Ice." So yeah, that'd be what if they had such a song. That would be my song. But though, since that's not an option here. Actually, speaking of San Jose based, Los Tigres del Norte, there's their mariachi band. And actually, they're from San Jose, and having that kind of sound after a goal actually could get the crowd into it. It's a different kind of sound. Obviously, San Jose, the city is named, it's a name of a sort of a Spanish language origin. And Sharks are trying to reach out to more Latino, Hispanic fans, right? They have the Los Tiburones night coming up on Saturday. And so I think that would be kind of a different San Jose thing that has character. No other hockey arena is going to be busting out mariachi after a goal, but it also would be, if you find the right song, everybody can get into it. So that's my suggestion.
That's awesome. I love that idea, Shangers. I think that'd be super fun. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Go ahead,
Keegan. No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was going to say 2 things. Yeah, the current song kind of sounds like if you've ever played FIFA or in an NHL game and there's just a background song playing in the background. Yes. That's exactly what the goal song sounds like. It's just da 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 something. Yeah. It's not very good. I'll say that. But I also don't go to the games because I live on the East Coast, so it doesn't really bother me. So it bothers you all. Anyway, I would choose, because I'm a huge nerd, and one of the first video games I ever played in for the NHL was NHL Hits 2002, and in that game there was Limp Bizkit's "Rollin'," and every time I would pick the Sharks, and in that game you could hit the shit out of people and they'd fly out of the arena and do crazy stuff, and "Rollin'" would play every time you scored a goal, so it would just play
nice.
Keep rolling, keep rolling, keep rolling.
All right.
Is he from
I
the
like
Bay?
the idea of
Is he
from the Bay Area?
songs.
Or is that Papa Roach?
No,
Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, I don't
I think
think
Papa Roach is from San Jose.
I
Isn't
think
he?
you go
That would make more
Metallica.
sense.
Anything Metallica.
Yeah.
that's a good
Yeah,
choice.
I think the two Metallicas like Jump in the Fire or For Whom the Bells
You
the
could
Bell
pick-
Tolls.
You could pick.
Yeah.
Any.
Yeah.
I think you get pick with a baby.
And Buffalo did the individual goal songs for a year. I remember that because I think it was Yokoharu maybe had something funny like I don't know, Katy Perry song or something funny for the whole year.
Yeah,
It might have been Yokoharu.
I like the idea that you're going to get,
Mm-hmm.
25 different songs, and it just
Yeah.
keeps the
Yeah.
fans. They're going to like some more than another, but like it keeps the fans kind of. It's a new, different experience. Every time.
Would you keep 22, Dan? If you were still playing now?
If it was gonna like stick around, my kids are a little older now. If I was playing now, and they'd be like, "I don't care, Dad," I'd probably not. I'd probably go some weird ass Faith No More song. Just,
Okay.
They're a Bay
Nice.
Area band. My connection to the band, and I just want to weird people out. Like, what?
Yeah.
What is that? What did he say? So I don't know. I probably just want to freak people out.
Yeah, this one's like kind of goofy, but like they're a San Jose band, Smash Mouth.
Smash Mouth
Hey
would be
now,
amazing.
you're an all-star. Like it'd just be fun and goofy.
Yeah.
There's so many good options. I wish they explored them. So,
Yeah.
Also everyone listening, in the comments, let us know like what you would pick as a goal song, and we'll tell Shangers to send it over to Jonathan.
Good.
It's whatever.
Shanger's going to
whatever-
meet with Hasso. He's
Yeah,
in the
exactly,
mood. He's
yeah.
in the mood right now to talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right for the picking. That's what he wants to talk about. Goal songs.
Yeah. That's all Shangers wants to talk about. So Shangers, let's do it. Let's jump right into it. Hasso.
All right. Hasso. So, Hasso, again, this was just a little background. They told us a couple of days before, Sharks PR, hey, Hasso's going to be here and he is willing to talk. We have been requesting Hasso interviews literally for a decade. Actually, we had, Keegan, you and I, we had Corey Masisak, now with the Denver Post, formerly of The Athletic. And when Corey was covering the Sharks for The Athletic, the Sharks started the season in Berlin a couple of years ago, 2022-23. Corey and I went to Berlin and Prague for those games. And Corey actually went to Hasso's town, Potsdam, to try to track Hasso down. That's how elusive he was. The Athletic sent him like, hey, okay, see if Hasso is at home, basically, in Potsdam. And we printed that story actually after The Athletic let Corey go. Corey was kind enough to publish that story at San Jose Hockey Now. It was a really great story. I think it was called Searching for Hasso Plattner. I think that's what I ended up with the
story.
title. So, yeah, it's a great story, but that's how elusive that he was, that we were writing stories like that to get any kind of insight into Hasso. And so big surprise that he was willing to talk to us. And at first it was going to be, he'll just give you like 5-10 minutes. But no, Hasso just talked as long as, Hasso's a billionaire many times over. Hasso talked as long as he wanted and said what he wanted, and no one stopped him. Because
His team.
it's his team, right? Are you going to get into an argument with him, defending Doug Jr. or something like that? No, let Hasso talk, right? So anyway, I wanted to jump into some of the things that Hasso said, and I picked out a few things, guys. But if you guys saw or heard something else you want to add, we can talk about it now or later. But the first thing he said was, I'm just going to go kind of in order of how he said it was, he was not the biggest fan of Erik Karlsson. And actually, Hasso said that one of his biggest regrets was that the Sharks let Josh Norris go and that they never got Tim Stützle into San Jose. And that's directly related to Erik Karlsson because Josh Norris got traded to Ottawa for Erik Karlsson. And obviously, the first-round pick didn't know it would be Stützle, but that pick, San Jose's first-round pick, went to Ottawa, and that pick became Stützle for the Senators. And Stützle is German, Hasso's German, so that's already kind of a subtweet at Erik Karlsson. But the direct quote that Hasso had is from Hasso. This is, I quote, "First, 1 star is not enough." He's talking about trading for Erik Karlsson and building a team around Erik Karlsson. Second, you know his qualities and you know his deficiencies. He was not the most, how do I say it? And he really thought about this. team-friendly player. He was good, but he was probably very good in a very good team. And before I get your guys' reaction, one thing I want to say is that it's not exactly clear what Hasso meant by team-friendly player. Again, this was one of these interviews where you're not asking too many follow-ups of Hasso because you just let him talk, and you don't want to derail him from what he's saying too much, right? And so some people interpret it the way they want. Oh, Erik Karlsson is a cancer in the locker room, right? I don't know if that's true or not, or Erik Karlsson, it could be a lot of different things, right? It could be just his contract was not team-friendly. It could be as innocuous as that. It could be that Erik Karlsson's game isn't really conducive, it's highly skilled, maybe not team-oriented. So it's a lot of ways that Hasso could have meant it. We really do not know exactly how it meant it, so I just want to put that out very clearly. But anyway, your guys' thoughts.
Well, I'll just say this. I won't speak directly.
Dan smile. We got to get to Dan on this.
No, I am still a player at heart, so
yeah,
I'm on this podcast to share stories, and this is one of those where I think I'm gonna maybe sit this one out, let you guys talk it through. I didn't play with him. I wasn't in the locker room with him, and I believe you have to be in there in order to make. You guys can obviously have your opinions, and that's fair and fine. But I didn't play with him. I wasn't, part of that team. Not something I would be happy about hearing that from an owner or a coach or a teammate. I've never heard that personally. So and obviously I wouldn't be too happy hearing that. So go on.
We're going to go back to you, Dan. You got to say something. You can't just leave us completely hanging. I know you don't want to throw somebody that you don't know under the bus, but
I don't. Everyone. Again, from as a fan standpoint, it was a tough year. I mean, the Sharks were terrible, and he had a billion points, and I think. Yeah, if I was being critical, like certain nights, I was like, yeah, I've been saying this since the beginning of this podcast. You can have 2 or 3 points, but if the team's losing and you're playing like shit, I don't care about the points. So I've always been a team first, win first kind of a guy. I've never been so stuck on statistics, and I thought it was a statistically given award that year, and there's some certain plays, certain nights I wish there would have been more concentration on the defense than getting the points. That being said, I didn't watch every game. I wasn't in the locker room. I don't know what the hell was going on, but I'm a team first, winning first type of guy, and if that means not pinching or risky play just to get an extra point to win the game, and that's what I want to see. And I felt at times it wasn't just him. I was seeing that a little bit too much, but I don't know him. I wasn't there, so it's tough to hear, certainly.
So
I'm still going to boil or gun ask you this later, but go ahead, Zubair. We'll come back to this.
It's interesting, right? Because Dan Boyle talks about team first, and so did Hasso. And I just wanted to say, first of all, I really appreciated that he came out and did this, because, we all want to hear more from Hasso, and his track record in his own individual, professional career is just absolutely amazing. And he's a highly competitive person, right? I think this is something that, he's a business titan, 100 richest people in the world, and top 100, and in the back 9 of existence, and you just don't care, and you're going to say what you want. And I felt like he did that in this interview. It was the most candid Sharks interview I've ever heard.
100%.
And I love that. Like, he just talked to us so real about everything. And one thing that I did see he said, to Boyle's point too, is team first. He said it about in regards to Karlsson not being the most team friendly player, I think were his words. And then, even with Bordelot, he had said something about, him wanting to have the puck.
In love with the puck. He was in love with the puck.
In love with the puck was the word.
Yeah.
Right. But then he said the opposite about Celebrini. Right. Yeah. He's like, hey, what do people that are very successful value is people that put the team first. And that's like a theme I got from the interview that I really appreciated, because here's someone who's accomplished a lot in his life. And Dan, to Dan's point too, it's people that put the team first that make good hockey players, ultimately, or at least winning teams.
Yeah. He was every quote that came from him, I just was impressed that like sometimes owners of hockey teams don't know this much about their hockey team. Like he knew like
Yes.
specific draft picks on specific like years, and obviously he's fuzzy on some details, but like the amount of knowledge that he had about everything going on with the team for the past like 6 years, even though he was not forward facing, like talking to us about it, was just like, yeah, mind blowing to me. I did not picture it from Hasso at all. And it was really enlightening in the way that he spoke about certain things.
Yeah.
With Erik Karlsson, I think and he mentioned it with Doug Wilson. He thought that they could build another winning team, but one more star wasn't really enough when Jumbo was kind of declining in his play, getting a little bit older. So he recognized that too. It's interesting because Erik Karlsson is a I want the puck kind of player, and it seems like you mentioned Zubair multiple times. You said he doesn't really like those kind of players that really, really, really want the puck. Like wants to more team focused guys. So I don't know. It's a very candid interview. I was super impressed with just how much that he knew about the inner workings of the team, because he has a bunch of investments all around the world, literally, and he could just not care and hire a guy to make a good hockey team, and he's like in it pretty heavily, which is interesting.
And to your point, Keegan, the best example of that from the interview that I caught was he said that he noticed Solani was hurt when he got onto the Sharks by the way he was overskating the puck, and he noticed he had a bad left leg.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like, what a keen eye to watch the game. And then he said when he was in Aspen, he got talking to him and realized he was rehabbing, I believe, with Solani later. But he noticed that, and he said he came to the team and told him the Finnish Flash has a bad left leg. and like that's how acutely he's watching the game, and I love that. Like, what a guy.
Yeah.
This is a guy that I don't know if you guys know the yacht story. Like, he was competitive yacht racing with Larry Ellison.
That's not true, by the way. No.
He
That's
said
not.
it wasn't. He said it was not true.
No, but he multiple times. So, like, I think
yacht
that's not.
racing is true.
No, the yacht racing is true, but not the Ellison part.
Oh, Larry Ellison, Larry Ellison's boat was also in the race.
No, but he didn't moon. The story is he mooned Larry Ellison. That's not true. I'm telling you, that's not true.
He said he didn't do that. Obviously. No, I'm just saying he's a highly competitive person. Yeah.
No, still do that, mooning? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I think it's still a thing. If you're a billionaire.
It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But, okay, so, Dan, I'm going to ask you this way. You can just not answer it, but...
Yeah.
What do you think from what you've heard and know? And obviously you didn't play with Erik, but you played in a league with him for a while, so you know the player's reputation and what people say about a player. So what do you think is closer to what Hasso meant about Karlsson? Was he discussing his play team style, the contract, or room presence? Or
no answer.
No, nice try, buddy. I can't go there. I don't know. And even if I did, I probably wouldn't right now. I think I do have to respect some things. I'll flip the. I'm a team first guy, and even let me kind of change like Kaprizov, right? I don't know him at all. Good player, but
right.
To take that much money, maybe Minnesota will prove me wrong, but to me that's destroying a team. And I don't know him. He might be the greatest freaking person in the locker room. He might be beloved by his teammates.
Yeah.
But that's a big contract. That's taken away from
your depth.
I remember, and again, I'm going to switch, going back to Tampa in 2004. I remember Vinny took a little less. Marty took a little less. I had signed, took a little less than market value. And McDavid is, obviously McDavid's got a big payday coming, but I thought that was for
awesome.
him to take what he took, to me is
Eichel too took a smaller contract too than he could have got.
I like that. So I don't know the story of, Kaprizov and why it got to that point. I don't know, but I don't like it. I don't like it from a team standpoint where you're making 17 and you need someone else, a defenseman or something, and you can't bring anyone in. There's no room. I'm a team first guy. I always have been, always will be, and I understand you got to look out for yourself and your family, and there's some individuality to the whole situation, but I really struggle with big contracts that kind of take away from a winning culture.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Big contracts that kind of set the market out.
And I felt with, again, I don't know Erik very very well, but like, it was like he was making a lot. All of a sudden you lose paths. You can't, and it wasn't necessarily his fault per se. I mean, I don't, it just sucks that like when there's those big contracts and you can't win around with that. At least in my opinion, you have a $17 million player, and maybe Minnesota will prove me wrong. Maybe they win the cup this year or next year, or whenever his contract kicks in, and they'll prove me wrong. But I don't like it.
And the team, like Minnesota's kind of in a really tough spot. Like that's their superstar. So same thing with the Sharks when Karlsson was here. It was like, we have to extend this guy because we just traded our future for him. And
it's like justifying the trade. So
exactly.
You have to back it up. You double down. Again, I don't know the inside situation of how that whole situation transpired. I was gone by then. So it just, as a player, it was tough to watch the decline of the Sharks. Everyone's going to say, well, they went to the cup. Yeah, they did. But, the last 6-7 years have been tough to watch for all of us.
I'm going to just call it wiggle. Let's move on to the next Hasso quote. But just a closing thought about Erik, because I actually did cover him his whole time here. I have definitely heard different things about him in the room, in the locker room. Like some good, some bad. It's not like all like, bad, which I think that some people want to take Hasso's quote that way, which I don't think is accurate. His play style for sure is a very certain play style, which I think we all can agree, for better or worse, that like it's not going to fit every single team, though, the way he does it. He is like singular. He's like a genius at some of the things that he does, but it's not going to fit every single team that he's on. So for better or worse. And so that season with the Sharks, the 2022-23 season that Dan did refer to, I do think a lot of that though was not, I don't put that on Erik. I think the Sharks told him, go play your game. Because they wanted to trade him. They wanted to raise his value. So I know with fair certainty that was the basics of the directive for Erik, that Mike Greer and David Quinn realized that to dump that contract, which was the absolute worst contract in hockey before that season, completely untradeable, that they had to let Erik be Erik and Erik play his game. And look, it worked. They tricked Kyle Dubas into taking it. That's literally what they set out to do, to prop up his value and to get somebody to take that contract. And it's not that Erik can't win, obviously. Look, the Ottawa Senators, he led them to the conference finals in 2017. He was part of the Sharks conference finals team in 2019. But he is a very particular fit kind of player. He's not a kind of player that's going to fit anywhere, any winning situation. So we'll leave it at that. But anyway.
And I feel like I got to add, he's. I mean, offensively, like he's freaking special. Like his skating, his vision, very, very, very talented player. So I don't want to get, I'm not used to this. I don't do any media. I'm not on Instagram and all this shit. So but he said he's a very, very talented player for sure. I just. It was tough to watch. Obviously the team being so bad, and like you said, I think maybe he was encouraged to.
He was that season, like he was. Yeah.
There you go. How can you fault him for that? So there's a lot that we don't know. It's just I struggle with the big contracts when a team's struggling. It irks me.
Yeah. Okay, next kind of explosive Hasso quote we're going to talk about. I asked Hasso why they re-signed Tomas Hertl, because Hasso said in an interview that he basically wanted to rebuild, I think, probably after 2020, after the Sharks missed the playoffs for the first time. That's the timeline it sounds like Hasso's talking about. So then why would they re-sign Tomas Hertl? And so this is the quote from Hasso. So why did they re-sign Tomas Hertl instead of rebuilding in March 2022? And Hasso's quote is, "We still had the hope," or Doug Wilson still had the hope that he could turn it around with Couture and Hertl, and Karlsson was still there, and Brent Burns. All these years, but then Hasso added, these are the kind of the gems from the interview that we didn't ask Hasso about this. He just wanted to say this. Hasso added, all these years we worked together, Doug Wilson told me he didn't like long-term contracts and that long-term contracts were wrong and what the other ones were doing, giving out these contracts, were wrong. And so I want to start actually with Dan here. When Dan played on the Sharks from 2008 to 14, that actually was indeed, from everything I understand, that was Doug Wilson's philosophy. The longest contract he handed out in that time period was just 6 years to Milan Mihalik. And he could have signed a lot of guys to long-term deals back then. And that's when you had like 10, 11-year contracts. And so Doug stayed out of that. And so anyway, I think it was Brent Burns that changed the paradigm. Brent Burns had just won a Norris, maybe. It was after Brent Burns' big season, and Brent Burns was 31. And at that point, the maximum contract was 8 years. And Brent was almost, I don't know for a fact, but you can read between the lines. Brent Burns is at the max of his value. He's also very marketable with all the hair and stuff. And he was going to leave for the biggest ticket he could find probably, or something thereabouts. And so Doug, I think that was the shift in terms of the first long contract that he signed was Brent Burns. And I think after that, all the other contracts followed. And I'm not sure if that was one of those. If I give it to Brent Burns, I got to give it to everybody else. But anyway, Dan, do you have any thoughts on that part of it?
Well, I was a player, right? So I was a player. As a player, you want to say, hey, you want that security and job security, and so who am I to say, no, they shouldn't. But now that I'm kind of on the other side of it, I think 6 years. I mean, I know the NHLPA is probably like, shut the fuck up. What are you doing? But I think there needs to be a medium, a happy medium, between rewarding, giving someone a player that deserves some financial stability and length. But that being said, sorry, I'm bouncing all over the place. There's just a lot going on in my head right now.
Yeah.
Like it took me 5 or 6 contracts to make. It took me 1, 2, 3. So a 3-year deal. It took me 5 years, to make $1 million. Like, granted, I wasn't but like now I see, and it's all relative. But like guys like Hudson already signed an 8-year. Yeah, he's a very good player, but they're very quick to reward players today, where it's like it's not show me contracts anymore. It's like I need to get ahead of the game before this guy. I can't afford him anymore. So I think I'm all over the place. I don't think I'm doing a very good job. I don't even think I answered your question.
Well, actually, you finish your point, and I'll ask the question again.
Well, back to your question. As what was your question? How do I feel about the long contract?
Well, no, my question was basically like when you played for the Sharks, was there an understanding that you weren't going to get? Did Doug kind of say that to people?
Nobody.
He did. Okay.
I came here. We were an older team. We had Jumbo, Patty, myself, Pavs. Nobody, and that was okay. I mean, we wanted to win. I don't think we had anyone on that. The 6 years I was here, I don't think we had anyone making significant amount more than everyone else. We were all, I think you could have taken any one of the top 6 or 7 players on that team, and I think they were probably underpaid in if you compare it to the rest of the league. Jumbo, right. Patty, and myself, and Pavs, and so Yes, so that I believe that was the philosophy then. Unfortunately, the Sharks never won a cup, so then maybe you're forced to go back to the drawing board and how can we do things differently? Well, maybe I got to go get this guy, lock this guy in, lock this guy in. But yeah, I don't know. I think I've been talking for too long now.
So the second part of the quote that I thought was interesting too was, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said something along the lines of, he made a bunch of long-term contracts. I think he was afraid of the future, most likely going down with a losing team, which eventually he did.
Right.
And so I think that, being the person he is, I think he recognized that, like, hey, like, that's how he identified the issue, is like Doug Wilson sees this going down and is trying to hold on to dear life on this ship, and trying everything he can. But it seems like that's something that he is an anomaly to what he had stated. But at the end, so maybe after Dan was gone, like to your point, when the Brent Burns contract had started to go, and all of a sudden he's handing him out left and right.
Can I defend? I want to defend Doug here, which I know it's easy for me to do here, but I think the way the timeline worked is signed Brent Burns in November 2016. He was going to be a free agent, and then Vlasic and Jones were July 1st of 2017, and that's when it all kind of started. And I think if you're Doug, and I this is not from Doug himself, but like if you're Doug Wilson and you have a singular player like Brent Burns, and you're gonna lose him if you don't give him an 8-year contract, I think that's a difficult position, I think, to be in, and so that could be what Hasso means. And if you give Brent Burns that 8, you break your own kind of internal rule of, like, again, the longest contract before Brent Burns was 6 years with Milan Mihalik. How can you say to Marc-Edouard Vlasic, who's been a good soldier and underpaid for a long time up to that point, hey, Mark, we gave Brent 8 years, but we can't give you 8 years.
Well, I would rebuttal. He did that to Pavelski, the player he should have given it to.
Well, Vlasic was much younger, though. We're talking apples and oranges, though. I'm not. Yeah, like Pavelski was 34. Vlasic was 29 or something. So it's not the same
8
conversation.
years. But I think it's an invest. You're still investing in the player during that age.
Here's my 2 cents as I'm listening to you guys. And I haven't been on a losing team, but I can imagine being on a losing team. All of a sudden, team's not going anywhere. You're in a contract year. You're not going to take less when you're on a losing team. So if I'm on a losing team, if I'm an unrestricted free agent, then that's probably where you're like, you know what, fuck it. Give me 8 years and you're going to give me this much and that's it. You don't care. And maybe that's what happened, not just on the Sharks, but on other teams where players said, you know what, fuck it, pay me. Whereas if a situation flipped, you're on a win. It's hard. It's hard to create a winning team, right? But if you can create, like the Golden Knights or whoever, pick a team you want. If you can put a good team together, guys are going to want to stay there. Guys won't want to take away money from player A or player B, player C, player D, because they want them around. So I'll take a little less, you take a little less, you take a little less, you take a little less. But you have to create a winning culture. And I think when you have a winning culture, I think it's easier. The Florida Panthers are doing it right now. It's easier to get guys to come back and guys to take less because guys want to win. But when you're on a losing team, and I'm just speculating, that's where guys kind of go, well, if you want me to stick around, I don't see us winning anytime soon, then that's where guys will go, well, then you're going to have to pay me a little extra. Hopefully that
I'm not also to your point. I think Burns' contract actually could have been less than he would have gotten in open market. I think that would be the argument there, that there wasn't like they were Vlasic and Burns and Jones were necessarily breaking the bank then.
No, but also
good contracts. But anyway, Keegan, we haven't.
I was more talking general terms, not in specific cases.
He also signed most of them when the Sharks were still competitive. It's just he was trying to extend a window with guys that weren't the same kind of caliber as they had before. Right. Not that, Vlasic, Burns, Couture, Hurdle, all these guys are great players, but they didn't have the entirety of the structure there. They didn't have the, Jumbo and Marlowe with them anymore. So it just didn't. I think he was trying to keep and hold on to the assets that he had, realizing that he didn't have a lot in the cupboard, and this is the way to keep them, is 8-year contracts for
And
way too
like
much money.
anything in life, like in business or my picks last week in the NFL, sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose them all. I was 1-7 last week in my NFL picks.
Nice.
So I think, and I'll support Doug too. Obviously, I was here for 6 years. We had a great team for 6 years. So obviously, he put a very good team together.
Oh, yeah.
We never won. But I'm not going to sit here and talk shit about Doug Wilson because I came here because of Doug. I thought he put a very, very good team together
For years.
So I'm not going to, sit here and talk shit about Doug. But
it's interesting
there's
because
the questions after that people are going to have, but that's because of the result that you had.
Yeah.
Right. In hindsight, it's easy.
He lost some of those bets, right?
Yeah.
So then you're going to judge him based on that. Had those bets turned out to be winning bets, then he would have looked like a genius,
And for years, all we ever heard was Doug Wilson is an excellent GM because he was an excellent general manager for 15 years. And then now it's all like, oh, well, he did this to the Sharks, but he was amazing for a long time. He got the right players at the right time, great at trades, one of regarded as like the wizard of trades, right? Like you're getting Brent Burns and you're getting Dan Boyle and you're
The Erik
getting
Karlsson trade
Joe Thornton.
was thought of as a big win
Erik
for the
Karlsson.
Sharks at the time. Yeah.
So I don't know. There's a lot of revisionist history here that we're digging up.
Revisionist history.
When you're a 20 billionaire, you can
He can do
write
whatever
history.
he wants. He owns the team. He gets to say what he wants.
So Dan, we don't have
Anyway.
Dan for too much time. So
No.
Dan, I want to
No.
ask you
Yeah.
what you want to talk about here. You got 10 minutes here. We're going to talk about either Doug Wilson Jr. or the Sharks' first 3 games. So we're going to kind of jump around topics. What do you prefer to talk about?
No. With the Doug Jr. thing, I mean, I don't know. You guys are gonna have to send me the link because I haven't seen the Hasso thing. So I would like to watch it. I would like to watch it now.
Yeah.
Doug Jr.
Sure.
was a scout, so I don't know what he said about him. But I don't want to. I personally don't want to be part of that.
Okay.
So the first 3 games. So through
Okay.
3.
This season. Okay.
What is my quick 2-minute, like on ESPN, my 2-minute rundown of what I've seen? So I saw the first and third game, the Anaheim game. I just saw highlights, so it wouldn't be fair to me to comment on that. Obviously, the first game. Obviously, we know what happened at the end. Obviously, with I'm not going to say his name because
Nedeljkovic.
Yeah,
Nedeljkovic.
yeah. Okay. So obviously, 2 like crazy bounces that probably happen once a year. They both happen on the same night, and it happened on opening night. Very unfortunate. I thought it was their game. It was their game to win, but a few mistakes at the end. We can discuss those mistakes, or you guys can when I'm off. I'm not going to. The third game is the concerning one. The last game is the concerning one for me. I saw a lot I didn't like. Where do I start? I didn't like his game. Same goalie. I don't know him very well. I didn't like
Nedeljkovic.
Nedeljkovic. I didn't like some of those goals, like the one from the D to D blue line that he didn't kind of get across, and maybe that was just he couldn't see it or whatever. But
that was the first goal of the game?
No, I don't think so.
That was like the
second or
fourth
third.
one. Okay,
No,
the
there were
fourth one.
just a few goals I didn't like there. I think specifically, I watched Dickinson because I needed to. How can I say this? I didn't like that game. I don't know if he was better the game against Anaheim.
He was.
I think he's young and it's going to take time. I don't expect him to be. So what I'd like to tell him, not that he's going to listen, but what I some of the reads, I didn't like some of his reads, which comes with experience. Okay, so I always imagine, like, remember the Terminator, like when they from the Terminator's eye, you would see like like data and like that's the kind of shit that like you need to have. And I would say at my peak, I had. Who are you on the ice with? Who are you on the ice against? What's the score? Where's the energy? Like, what are we doing here? Like, if you're on the ice against player A or player B, like maybe that's when you go for a little spin, and I just feel like that's stuff he's going to have to learn. I didn't like the pinch on the one goal. I didn't like his awareness on the one long pass. I think it was on the third goal.
Yeah.
Things that he's going to learn. So I'm not saying sit the guy. I actually want to see him play more. I think it's going to take some time. With Misa, because I know you guys are going to talk about him after I get off here. I obviously see potential, but same thing. I mean, he's a rookie. It was his first game. You could tell he wasn't hanging on any pucks.
Yeah, very weak on the puck for sure.
He was
Very weak.
As soon as he had the puck, he was passing it off, giving it away. And I think that's just nerves. I want to tell any fan who's like, "Oh shit, here we go," or no. This was one game. I give this kid some time. Obviously, he's got good size. You can tell he can skate. My advice to him would be like, hang on to the puck a little more. Obviously, get some confidence. Sometimes you got to do things like go hit someone. And he may need to get into a fight or something. Sometimes it takes something. No, I'm serious. Sometimes it takes something unexpected to get you to feel like you belong. And I know the feeling in my first pro camp of feeling like I didn't belong. And it's when I think I tried I deked someone, went through their legs, and I was like, I remember going, fuck yeah, I can do this. And we talked about that last podcast, and I feel like, if they can get some left-right D there, I didn't like some of that combinations.
Yeah. Was that Letty and Orlov?
Yeah, and I think Orlov obviously is skilled. You can tell he can skate, but
right.
I didn't
He's
love
physical
the first
too.
game either. I didn't. There's things I didn't love, but it's early. I'm just doing this because cameras or lights on me right now, and I got to talk about it. I don't think it's way too early to freak out, but that third game was concerning. I didn't love it, but it's a young team. I think it's going to take a little time, but I'd like to see left-right D. At least for now. Misa, Dickinson will get a little better. I think their best player has been Skinner. I think, again, I didn't watch the second game. I think he's been, offensively, he's done some good things. And, that's kind of, I guess it wasn't 2 minutes, but that's kind of what I saw in games 1 and 3. But didn't see game 2, so I don't know.
In the last couple minutes we have with you here, Dan, I would say that the one thing that I'm going to talk about this in a little bit myself, but the most concerning thing for me about the first 3 games is that the Sharks' big additions this summer were the 3 defensemen, Orlov, Letty, and Klingberg. And overall, I liked them in the first game. But they were not good in the second game that, I know you didn't get to watch. And that carried over to the third game. So we're talking generally, it's only just 3 games, but 2 of the 3 games, not very good. From the veteran defensemen that are supposed to add poise with the puck moving, not throw pucks around, just help decision making, that sort of thing. And so I think that's a concern because if those guys don't turn it around, then this is really going to be the same old Sharks. There's only so much that Macklin Celebrini in his second year or Will Smith in his second year can do. And so that's the thing that I think is kind of the thing that would kind of concern me about these first 3 games, that you're not seeing a high level of play from veteran players that you thought would provide it. Granted, they're a bit older, but that you thought would provide a higher standard of play.
I think, again, too early, obviously, to lose your mind. I know as a player going on to a new team, and especially in New York, my last year. This might be too long. You want to try to fit in, and sometimes that takes away from your game because we talk about being a team player. We talk about being unselfish. I'm going to flip this around. Sometimes. And I hope this comes across properly. Sometimes as a player, you have to be a little selfish. You have to use your attributes. What brought you there? And I've talked about this before. You got to find your game within a team concept. And that's a hard thing to do. And I don't know if those 3 defensemen, again, not having watched the second game or just, try to find their way, which is I'm hoping is the case. But you have to find your game, your selfishness within a team concept. Whether you're, and even with Misa too, I felt like in that game, he didn't want to fucking hang on to the puck, on the puck.
Yeah.
And the best time, and I'll say this, the best time to find some confidence at times is when you are losing a game 4-1, 5-1.
You got nothing to lose.
You got nothing to lose, and you'd be surprised how many games over the course of a 1,000-year career where sometimes you lose a little confidence. It's one of those nights. It's a shitty night. You're down 6-1. You're not playing well. In the third period, take the fucking puck and do something else. And then it's one play. All of a sudden, boom, maybe you have 3, 4, 5 good shifts in a row, and then it carries over. It carries over. And when you have nothing to lose, you can kind of just be yourself a little more. So that's my 2 cents. Sorry it took so long, but those not a panic point right now, but certainly a little concerned with game 3, not having seen game 2, but and maybe going on the road too. I think going on the road will help the guys come together a little bit and just start with one game.
Super quick question for you, or Keegan, do you have one for Dan before he leaves? Last question for Dan.
That's what I liked about Skinner's game, like you mentioned. It's like it seems like he's playing his style of game, and he's kind of molded, or he's kind of like said, "I'm going to play the way that I play as Jeff Skinner," and not try to. I don't know. He's not sinking into the background like a lot of free agents have in the past couple of years. So
yeah, and you have to find your game within a team concept, and that's a tough thing because we just mentioned, like you talked about guys that always want the puck. Yeah, you can be that guy within a team concept. There's a fine line there. There's enough room there where you can be that guy and do your job, do what brought you there. You're here for a reason. They traded for you or they drafted you for a reason. They didn't draft you to be a robot. Just find your game within your team concept.
So those 3 defensemen, the 3 veterans, how many games to give them just for fans? How many? Give them 10, 20, new situation, just came here,
20's too much. I would say.
Okay.
I would say by game 10, if you're getting the same results, I would certainly be concerned.
Okay, it's time to panic.
Yeah. All right, I got to go get my kids.
Okay.
Next week, I'll be back with a laptop, hopefully, and some better Wi-Fi.
Yeah, sounds great, Dan.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Dan.
So,
I get off.
Run away! You just gotta
get off.
just throw the phone. Throw it really hard.
Human centipede again.
Dan. Yeah.
Throw the phone.
Throw the phone in the water.
I honestly can't help you, Dan.
Looks like we're all going to go pick up the kids.
Leave, goddammit.
There it goes.
All right, let's just stick with the 3 games, and then guys listening, we're gonna jump back to Hasso's interview.
Cool.
We're gonna talk about Doug Jr. We're gonna talk about Gavin McKenna. So we'll get to that later, but let's just stick with the 3 games since we kind of did a detour into it. So anyway, go ahead, guys.
Yeah. So I think a couple of things that I wanted to talk about in the first 3 games. First off is, my wife. We were at the first game, and at the end of the second period, she's like, Sharks had a 3-2 lead, I think, and at that point, and she was like, "What do you think is gonna happen?" And I was like, "I'll tell you what. If the Sharks could figure out a way to win this one, it's a different season. And if they don't, then it's a psychological thing." And I actually text my cousin who was watching the game in Southern California. I was like, "If they find a way to win tonight, this is a different team than the last 5 years." And they didn't. And it was that epic loss. And so, and then I think the reason I bring that up is because I'm with Dan. I think we can't look too much into this. It's 3 games, it's a young team. But where I really noticed it was with Dickinson, particularly in that last game against Carolina. And Keegan, you've seen a lot of Dickinson as well in the OHL. And one of my favorite things about him is when he would always carry the puck over the blue line into the offensive zone.
Sure.
Then he would sort of ditch it high or find a play and then open up and get into position. And early in the Carolina game, there was several plays where it was in our zone and there were just subtle puck touches where he had the opportunity to get it out or make a short pass. Mm-hmm. And in one, he got pinned on the boards and all of a sudden they're in front of our crease whacking away. Yeah. And there was a couple of those, and you could see his confidence. And then he had those 2 bad pinches, and it came back and resulted in goals against. And then all of a sudden, you start to see his confidence go. And I saw a couple of times where you see the good part of Dickinson, where he can skate out of the zone, is good on the transition. And then he would prematurely, in the neutral zone, make the pass that I'm used to seeing him pass over the blue line. And I looked over, I was watching the game with Sheng actually in the press, and I looked over at him real quick, and we were both working, so I didn't get a chance to say it, but I was like, that's a confidence thing. Because he had the lane. He easily could have walked over the blue line.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He panicked. And in fact, on one of them, the defender bites on the pass, and he had an open lane, and he just dished it to the guy that's now covered.
Yeah. 100%.
Right. And that's where, and that I think a lot about Mike Stubbs, who's the radio, he's one of the broadcasters for the London Knights. He's a great broadcaster, by the way. Shout out Mike Stubbs. And he has this quote from Dickinson that he really likes, that in one of the interviews I believe he did with him, where Dickinson identified himself as like, what kind of player are you? He's like, I just want to impact winning hockey. And I believe that's his quote. And I think a lot of, for Sharks fans, when we think about, and we'll get into Misa a little bit more, but for Dickinson in particular and Misa, they're so young, they're going to go through these, because Dickinson did not have a good game. That's what I'm trying to say. It was
You're saying it in very nice
ways.
ways.
Yeah. But that's okay. He's so young, and
100%.
He's so young. It's no time to freak out. And you see the flashes of it, and I think he will put it together because he has a very coachable attitude, and things like that, where he's like, hey, you know what? I want to be an impact to winning hockey, and if you look at him with the London Knights, like, he would make those reads that Boyle was talking about, like, who am I on the ice with? Do we need a shutdown right now? Or do we need a goal, down by a goal at the end of the third? And he knows that hockey awareness very well. I think once his nerves calm and he's a little settled down, I think we'll see that over the course of the season. No reason to hit the panic button is what I'm saying.
Oh, actually, one thing to add to this. This is a story that I have coming out, so it's kind of a sneak for you guys. But I asked Sam Dickinson to rate different levels of play, because Sam is a very, how do you say it? He's very articulate. He's very thoughtful, I think. And so basically what I asked him is, if London Knights is one of 10 scale, then let's move up different scales. And I don't want to give away the whole story, but the conclusion that he said was that if the London Knights is 1, the NHL is at least 10, 11, 12, 13 times harder and faster and more physical. Yeah. So just to give you a sense in a kind of a basic mathematics sense of what is going on in his head. So,
and that's
real quick.
Go ahead.
Sorry, was that after the hit at the end of the third, or before that he said it was harder?
No, I asked him yesterday after the Carolina game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Sorry, Keegan, go ahead.
Well, no, yeah. So I think the biggest thing that I noticed with him is in juniors, like you can watch any junior hockey game. They give up these odd man rushes. They give up these like long bomb plays. They give up these things all the time. It is a very back and forth hockey game all the time. Juniors is a rush focused game, and you could tell in that Carolina game that the goals that he got beat on were he's anticipating that A, the players are not going to be quicker than him to get around him, and that B, like he's going to be able to like catch up to them if they do get around him, and they aren't. Like they're just faster. They're bigger. They're faster. The plays are different. The style of play is completely different than juniors. So the goals that he gave up were junior goals. They were like, and that's not like a knock on Dickinson, like, oh, he's a junior player, send it back to juniors. It just means that like this is the style that he's used to defending and how deep he has to be in his zone, how much he has to cover, and all of a sudden, whatever Carolina player is beating him because that's the NHL. And so I'm also not that concerned. I think the plays that he let in, it's not like you don't see these consistently in junior because he's, very, very good skater. And the players in junior are just not as high quality to make these kind of plays. So I think he's going to adjust. It just get caught him by surprise a little bit. And that's the way it's going to be for probably like half the season, if not more, if he stays up the whole year. Like it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment. And I'm not that worried. I think he's still got tons of potential. It's just it honestly, that because those are the kind of mistakes, I wasn't worried. Like, it was like, oh, okay, he's just not adjusting to the depth that he needs to be at in the NHL, and that's what I was most struck with Dickinson's game in that last one. I thought in Anaheim he was mostly, not invisible isn't the right word, but I just didn't notice him all that much. I was just like,
right,
oh, he's
which is
doing
maybe
fine.
a good thing.
Yeah.
But
It's a good
I
thing.
think overall, my thought is no, there's no concern. He's 19,
Yeah.
he's immensely talented, but this is the reason why when you guys asked though, like, will he stay in the NHL this season? And I've pushed back against it because just being a defenseman is so hard. There's so much to process, and. So I do think that is in question. That's not a panic reaction. Just these are the reasons why he may not be quite ready to be here all season. And so we'll see. He will have, I think that was the second game. So he's going to, looks like he's going to play tomorrow against Utah because of injuries. So we'll see if he gets better over the next month. And so that's a determination that the Sharks will have to make. But because our time is a little short now, because I had to catch a flight too, let's do quick reactions to Michael Misa. And I actually already said it when Dan talked about it, that I liked Michael when he had time and space. When he had time and space, he made good plays, good subtle passes, could pass through people. Difficult passes that, through Carolina Hurricanes when it looked like he felt like he had time and space. But obviously, though, there was not one puck battle won, except with his stick at times. He's able to do that on the forecheck a couple times. But in terms of just the physicality of it, it just is not quite ready for it. But because he's a forward, I think that he can survive a little easier, like Will Smith did last year. But anyway, so those are my initial impressions of his first game.
Yeah, I think you could go ahead, Zubair, if you got something.
I'll go. Oh yeah, sure. I have similar thoughts to Dickinson in that, like, he's young, it's okay, no reason to hit the panic button. But I would say the most noticeable thing that I saw, which he's going to have to work on, is being stronger on the puck.
Sure.
He looked very weak on the puck.
For Misa, you're talking about.
Yeah, for Misa particularly. Yeah. And there was a couple plays down low in the low corner, and, he would kind of fly over the puck. He would try to take it, and the guy would one-hand stick, it's my puck. And the other thing that I thought was interesting was Rosofsky's quote as to why he put Misa into this game about the structure of the Carolina Hurricanes and why this was a good game to interject him. And I think that's actually an interesting statement because Carolina beat us better than any of the other teams that we played, Anaheim and Vegas. And that structure is something that I think Misa is going to have to learn. I do find him out of position a lot, similar with Dickinson. But I found Misa as a center to be very out of position. And I think a good comparable would be him to Wenberg. And we talked about this a little bit before, where, he is out of the zone. He is floating high. He's not in the slot. I found Dellandrea being first man back a lot on his shift, playing center, and they sort of switch, which can happen on a shift. That's not a big deal, but it was happening more often than not. And I want to see Misa hustle back, stay in position, and really own the center position. And again, I think he'll learn it. Again, there was noticeable sort of characteristics of someone who is nervous, which is so normal. This is an 18-year-old kid in the NHL. So it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It was. He honestly was. I was just happy that he made some of the plays that make you say that. Oh yeah, that's Misa. That's all I wanted was a few good plays, and also not to be like egregiously out of position, which I don't think he was horribly. So it's one game and the third line. I think he's going to need more time to adjust, but also, like we've said before, because he's a forward, it's easier to mold into the lineup. It's easier to just kind of get it in there and get your spot and start winning some battles and finding your space. So I think he's got not easier is not the right word, but like an easier road than Dickinson, because Sharks A now have 9 defensemen, and B forward, there's a lot more spots that you can kind of slide into. So.
Yeah, I wanted to. I agree with more with Keegan about the positioning. I do wonder. And I told Zubair this in the game that I think to some degree Dellandrea that was his job to kind of
Cover.
cover the center position for Misa to some degree, and so Misa could be more free, and Misa didn't have to think like a center at all times. But anyway, though, let's move forward. Very quick thought about just the games in general. Just my one quick thought. I already told Dan that my biggest concern is just those 3 veteran defensemen that I think you need to see a pickup in their play. And if you don't, it is really going to be another long season for the Sharks. But I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts besides Misa and Dickinson before we get back to Hasso and talk a little Vincent Iorio too.
No, the only last thought I would have is the psychology of it. And Warsofsky actually came out and talked about it. But that's, what I told my wife at the end of the third, and I think the Sharks have to snap it. And Sheng, I think you bring up a fantastic point about the veterans. The veterans really have to lead the rookies out of this. And I guess the only thing that I would say, my final comment would be, I don't know if you should start Celebrini in the overtimes. I thought Celebrini's overtime giveaway was egregious. I think it was a massive mistake on a 3-on-3 play in overtime. And if you look at it, a veteran that we do have who I believe scored the most overtime goals last season is Wenberg. And Wenberg does very well in overtime because he protects the puck well, he's defensive, and he gains control. And so I don't think from a coaching perspective that you should be starting Celebrini in overtime. And I understand we're trying to get him minutes and give him opportunity, but I also feel like he's still also really young. This is the beginning of his second season in the NHL.
I wish I had more than 30 minutes for this because that's a hot-ass take that I highly disagree with. But I understand where you're coming from. Wenberg is a more polished player, but Celebrini is your best player. And he is just your best player. And so, he'll learn. He'll learn from that. It was a bad mistake, but anyway.
He will, but here's we'll talk about this later. But the point, the ultimate point of this is you have to start winning hockey games.
True.
This is the season that Hasso said it. Greer said it. The team is Warsofsky said it. You saw that timeout. The Sharks need to start winning hockey games to break out of the losing psychology. And to do that, what's the best way to do that? This is not a development league. I think the best player on the ice at the beginning of overtime is Wenberg to start to play. And he had overtime goals last year, more than Celebrini.
But you're talking about 2-1 or something like that. I think Wenberg had 2 and Celebrini had 1, right? So but anyway.
But also let's talk about giveaways.
Well, he did mention after the game too. He said that it was on him. He did say
he owned it. He's a leader.
He owned it.
Yeah, no, he's a leader, 100%. That guy's a leader. But I'm talking about the coaching perspective. I'm talking about the coach.
Yeah.
I think Warsofsky needs to start Wenberg in overtimes because he's your best center to start the game, gain possession of the puck, and then maybe switch, a quick shift over. But I think Wenberg deserves to start that overtime.
I will give you, there's an argument for it. If Warsofsky did it, I could see what you're saying. But Keegan, do you have any closing Sharks otherwise thoughts before we jump back into Hasso and Doug Jr.?
Yeah. I think if Celebrini does that, 2 more times, I would probably say maybe.
You give it 2 more times, okay.
I'll give him 2 more times because he's just trying to do too much. He knows that he's the man, and he's trying to do way too much on those plays, and it's unfortunate. But also, I think the bigger concern is you let in 2 empty net goals. You let in 2 goals when the other team pulled their goalie. That's the part that bothers me more than the overtime loss because that's kind of a coin flip. It's. Yeah, you can prepare, and certain players are going to be better than others in overtime, but it's mostly a coin flip. And you should maintain possession, like you're saying. That should be the way that he is taught to play in 3-on-3, and it doesn't seem like he is. He's kind of taught more rush and go, try and get your best chance, and that's it. As opposed to cycling back and doing the boring 3-on-3 that the NHL has become accustomed to. So,
well, that's also playoff hockey. That's not just 3-on-3 hockey. That's playoff hockey. And I was watching the I was watching the Prime Inside the NHL with Quentin Byfield, and he had this giveaway that cost him the elimination game against the Edmonton Oilers, and it was very similar to the play in overtime. Those plays happen in regular season games, 5-on-5 playoff games as well, where that possession. And I think and this is again a coaching thing. I do. This is it's my opinion. I think that you develop Celebrini at this point, not necessarily by reps, but also telling him hey, like that's not acceptable. I'm not
Well,
going to
they
give
are
you another
telling
chance
him
in
though.
overtime.
They are telling him that though,
Yeah.
and he
But
knows it too.
Show
So
him but no, don't just tell him. Take action and say, hey, Wenberg gets it. This veteran who's done well in overtime and values the puck in terms of puck management, and you can learn from him, give him that ice time.
I think he said something
thank you,
like-
Zubair. Oh, go ahead.
No.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
the
I
first
don't-
person to
Hasso.
criticize Celebrini on the podcast.
Yeah,
I'm
I
impressed.
want to thank you, Zubair, for the headline for this podcast. Zubair
No.
wants to bench Celebrini.
No.
No, I don't want to bench. Oh, God. You know how. Hey.
What I'm saying is, like, he calculated that he got that pass from, I think it was Liljegren who gave him that pass, and he was like, I have two plays. One is circle back, restart the cycle, go back, and that was the smart play, the safe play, or like, this is my one play. I'm going to try this between the legs move, whatever he tried to do. And he calculated that he could do it, and it was not the right play. And gonna happen. I don't know.
All right, let's
move on. I guess.
forward.
But I do want to mention real quick that the D issue that I think. Oh, okay. I want to see Mukamadula back in because I really do believe that Mukamadula
He's going back in.
is a. I know he is. He
I'm
is
on Team Keegan on this one.
Yeah. I
I'm
know.
big Team Keegan.
And and it's one game that he got in and out of the lineup. I'm not going to go crazy about it, but I do think that there's something there with Mukamadula that a lot of other D aren't giving you, and I really want to see that fostered. So I'm hopeful that he gets in the lineup in a more impactful way because he moves the puck really well. He gets the puck out of the zone, and the Sharks need that more than most things. So I think it's interesting that it took like a little Liljegren injury and a Klingberg, like he's got like a day-to-day thing for him to kind of get back in there. And,
well, we don't know. He might have gone back there anyway.
Maybe.
So yeah, because the
but
injury.
it seems like
or,
that's what they're saying, right? Like that
No, they didn't
Klingberg
say
is out
that.
for a day or whatever.
Well, yeah. I mean, yesterday basically Mukamadula was back in the six because Klingberg and Liljegren weren't there. But you don't know if Klingberg and Liljegren were healthy that they could have gone back in. My overall thought, just to close the thought, is I'm not worried about Mukamadula. Like I think it's natural, especially early in the season, that you go with the veterans who have done it. You see what they've got left in the tank. Mm-hmm. And so once they figure out that maybe Leddy, maybe Klingberg, maybe Orlov aren't who they hope they would be, and that they have a track record of having done for a long time to give those guys credit, that you kind of you give them that shot. If it's game 20 and these gymnastics are still happening with Mukamadula, then it's maybe a little more of a concern. But right now, I do think that a lot of fans are over worried about this. It's game 3. They're going to go with Nick Leddy, who's won a Stanley Cup, who has 1,000 games. They're going to go with John Klingberg, etc. So anyway,
to give some credit to the fans, they saw the team play Mike Hoffman for like 60 games. Right? They saw him play.
That's fair. And I was very critical of that. I never really understood that.
I'm not saying you. So. I'm saying like that's what people worry about. It's like
fair.
you're gonna sit somebody because you're
trying to get a draft pick at a trade deadline. Yeah,
I don't know what you're doing with Mike Hoffman, but like that's the point. Is like if we're at game 60 and not to pick on Nick Leddy, maybe he's gonna improve, and he's had some up and downs. I won't honestly. I think we're shitting on Nick Leddy too much. Not me or you or anybody, but like he hasn't been that awful. Like there's been some times he hasn't been terrible. I think there's been some misplays, but anyway, if it's game 60 and one of those defenders is not picking it up, like,
I hear you.
You really can't just be sitting Mukamadula and hoping.
Right. But
it's
game 3. It's game 3. It's not even 13 or 33.
This is overreaction central, Sheng.
I know.
Well,
All right. Can we go to Doug or yeah?
Let's go to Doug.
All right. We'll let you scratch that itch, all right?
All right.
We got to talk about Hasso. Hasso is the biggest thing. Like guys, like in a press box, people that I haven't talked to in a long time, they were like, that interview was crazy, wasn't it?
It was crazy.
Scouts, a couple of scouts went up to me like, dude, did you see that interview? I was like, yeah, I asked him the questions.
I was there.
Elliot Friedman did 20 minutes on the Sharks' first loss, but also on just that interview because that was so crazy. So anyway, okay, so Doug Jr., what he said about Doug Jr., and going back to what we talked about with Dan Boyle, that actually Hasso gave Doug a lot of credit, even though he was shitting on Doug some of the time too. But he said that, yeah, Doug was a man with a lot of hockey sense. That's basically what he said. Basically before he took down his son. And so Hasso's direct quote about Doug Jr. is, much more I'm negative about his son. He was not drafting well. He was totally over his pay grade. And that was another mistake I probably made. I didn't see that. We were always relatively good at drafting. All of a sudden, we lost it. And so anyway, give my 2 cents before giving you guys the form. Doug Jr. basically took over the scouting in 2017. Full disclosure, I'm friendly with Doug Jr. I like Doug Jr. So you can take that for what you will with what I say. But I think it's easy to hindsight all this stuff. So funny that Hasso mentions how much he misses Josh Norris, who Josh Norris was Doug Jr.'s first pick, and Norris was an off the board pick that year. So Doug Jr. started off strong in the draft 2017. It was Norris and Ferraro. And then it went bad. And yes, you can argue, like the draft that sticks out to me that was Doug Jr. won a direction. It was a bold direction, but obviously didn't work out, was the 2020 draft where he drafted all small forwards except for Brandon Coe.
Yeah.
And that's a direction. I know that talent on the board, it's not like Doug didn't want to draft defensemen or whatever. It just kind of how the board broke. But there was sort of a statement in terms of his philosophy and his style, and it didn't work. It really didn't work. I don't really blame Doug Jr. A lot of people like to bring up Ryan Merkley, but if you look at that part of the draft, there was only one other player you could have taken that worked out, and of course it happened to be the next player, Keandre Miller.
That's how it happens.
But though, and you could argue that was the philosophical thing too, because Keandre was a big, not as sort of like obviously not as skilled as a Ryan Merkley, maybe not as much ceiling if everything hits with Ryan Merkley. So maybe that was a Doug Jr. philosophy that backfired. I don't know if Doug Jr. should have been the head of scouting. I mean, the results of these things are, again, very, very hindsight, but maybe he shouldn't have been that. But I think Doug Jr. is a good scout. He's still working with Seattle, a big part of their drafts. So I think that we can look at this with sort of the full picture. And by the way, if you guys don't know, Doug Jr. ran the draft from 2017 to 2022. Philip Beestead, I've said it on the air before, I think, or maybe but I can say that, like, Beestead wasn't necessarily Doug Jr.'s pick, so, like, I don't know if you want to roast him for that or not, but just in all fairness there. But anyway, so I just want to bring up a few of those points. So what do you guys think?
Many thoughts. Many thoughts. This is the prime of the me picking up into Sharks drafting era. I think the and I've said this before on the podcast, like the part that I knew, or that I lost confidence in that regime was after Eklund was drafted, and like Doug Wilson's, it was a quote from Doug Wilson, and I don't want to paraphrase it too hard, but he said something like, you know, if Dougie says that Eklund's ready, he's ready. And it's not like, I think what they were looking for, and this goes back to the same philosophy that Hasso talked about. They were looking for the fix, right? They were looking for the way to make this extend. They were looking for the Ryan Merkley to be a superstar stud. They were looking for, you know, Erik Karlsson to be a star like Jumbo. They were looking for Eklund to be a young guy to come in and fix the franchise, because they were stuck. Like the cupboard was bare. They had traded everything. Guys had aged out, and they were stuck. So I think Doug Wilson Jr.'s job was kind of in a different place. Like, in my opinion, this is, again, all my opinion, and I don't want to say anything too negative, but I think his mindset was, I've got to find a star. Like, we're not going to win if I draft a third pairing defenseman, like right now. We're not going to win if I get a bottom sixer. Like, we need a star. And, you know, all of the guys that he drafted were not boomer bust, but pretty high boomer bust guys, like Bordeleau and Gushchin and Kanizev and, you know, Ryan Merkley in 2018. And, you know, 2021, he was super pumped about Eklund because Eklund's a great player. But, like, I think a little bit of his draft record has to be seen in the context of what the franchise was, which was his father and him trying to extend a window that honestly was not possible to extend. So that's just my opinion on the way that Doug Wilson Jr. drafted. I think it was boomer bust, and they unfortunately almost all busted. To say like to be, and obviously some players are still have a chance to make it, right? I'm gonna forever love Gushchin because I love that player, but this is the way it works. Like this is how it happens.
Can I interject really quick on? So I think actually so I think these things need to be taken in degrees. Like,
sure.
If you're like, oh, Doug Jr. is an idiot, he doesn't know how to scout, that's stupid. You're wrong.
Yeah.
Doug Jr. knows how to scout.
Absolutely.
But is Doug Jr. the greatest scout ever if you're on that side? No, he's not either, right? And so there's degrees, right? And so the degrees I would say here in your particular argument is that I think that there could be some validity to the boom and busting when we talk about the 2020 draft. Yes. And maybe then the Merkley over Miller or whoever else that they had on their board in 2018. That's a great example of that. I would point out, though, in 2020, he drafted Weisblot first, and Weisblot actually was a very safe pick. And I know for a fact that 2021, the Eklund one, that I don't think that was the thinking there because...
he picked the best player he thought was available.
And Doug Jr. said, right after the draft that Beniers was his number one on his board, Eklund was number two, and Beniers won second, I think, in that draft. But I think the other part of it, too, that is the degrees we're talking about, it wasn't a fully, they got to make these picks to save the franchise. Very, very clearly, when William Eklund debuted in 2021-22, and I was actually on the side of keeping him, and I still would argue that for different reasons, but that was a call from Doug in the end. That, this kid is not ready, not quite ready. There's things that he does well, but not quite ready. And so that would be sort of my proof that there's validity in what you say, but it's not like across the board with every decision. You know what I mean? And I'll leave it at that because I want to get on other topics. But
I think it was a little too
We're
much,
getting into more speculation here, but I can see Keegan's point to where, hey, your dad's general manager. You want to try to help out. If we get really interpersonal here, and son's like, hey, I'm going to go for that moonshot. I'm going to show you, Dad. I could get that guy. I could find that guy.
I don't want to get too far into that. I mean, I think he just tried to do his best.
I can see Keegan's point under that narrative. But what I have to say is, and Sheng, I talked to you about this, a couple of years ago when we first started chatting, and what's interesting is also what I found with Doug Wilson Jr. is he tends to, and maybe he's changed. I don't know what he's been doing with the Kraken. Keegan, you might know better. Sure. Has he been drafting well with the Kraken right now?
Yeah, I mean Kraken draft. Like I disagree with some of their picks, but they have pretty good track record. They got they got Berkeley Catton, they got Riker Evans recently. I don't think Doug was there when they got Riker
Doug
Evans.
Jr. is more on the WHL side too. I think he actually might have been elevated recently.
You know what's so funny?
Catton,
is my guy from 2023, Lucas Dragicevic, is from the WHL, and I bet you because me and Doug. He got picked by the Kraken in the second round. So just the way that he drafts is very skill focused, very offensive driven.
Talk degrees.
That's the way that he goes. So
absolutely. And he doesn't value size as much. But, and also, which is interesting because Doug Wilson has said many times you need size, and he's traded for size to get through the West, and he said that a lot before we made it through our Cup run. You need to get through the West. You need big guys to get through the West. And I think there may have been a bit of an overcorrection there. This is my speculation on it. And then also you got to think about who won the Cup, in 2020 and in 2021 and what players like the Kucherovs and the Braden Points with Tampa Bay at that time. And I do think he drafted trending, who won last year. And if you look at Eklund, he drafted 4 versions of Eklund, and each one had if you've ever played one of the NHL games where you get to trade off the attributes and there's give and take. Bordelot, better hand Eklunds. Daniel Gushchin, better shot Eklund, best skating Eklund. Weisblot, more physical Eklund, right? It's just you see the trade-offs in the profile of the player. And I think that, go ahead.
Well, what's really interesting to me is there are the picks that Doug Wilson made that are unheralded good or good. Like Ethan Carwell's a great player for the 4th round. Josh Norris was a great pickup, like you mentioned, Sheng.
Yeah.
Ferraro was an excellent 2nd round pick. It's not like he has a ton, but Gannon Larocque, before he got injured, was looking like a great pick. I watched a ton of him before every injury in the world happened to him, which is unfortunate. So he has a lot of scouting talent. It's just I think the philosophy and the management, that it was just kind of like, maybe like Hasso said, he was doing not the job of a head scout. He was doing the job of a pseudo GM head scout. Like, if that makes sense. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just above the pay grade in terms of what he should be doing at that time. So, still got hope for Daniil Gushchin. He's going to make it one day.
That will save both Keegan's reputation and Doug Jr.'s reputation.
No, I've always had my significant doubts about Daniil, and I've talked about things about Daniil, what he needs to do to make it, but I could see why he drafted that way.
He had a nice helper in the preseason.
He did, but Keegan, I gotta say that your half-wall hockey draft actually more matches a Doug Jr. draft than a lot. You know what I mean, right?
It does.
So,
like I started in 2022, so I started literally the last year that Doug Wilson ran the draft.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does. I got a lot of small guys that are real good. I got Hudson and Buyum and Michkov and a bunch of dudes that are small but great. And I still have obviously Celebrini and Misa. So yeah.
And one thing that I
Erik
guess with Zubair
as well,
that I think I often disagree with you on. I don't think it's as simple as they just looked at what was working or like last year, and that's kind of how they come up with their philosophy. Like, I think Doug Jr. definitely is part of the skill, trend, size, right? But there are other teams that do it, though. Like the Carolina Hurricanes, for example. They kind of would their draft picks look a lot like Doug Jr. picks from a few years ago. And so I think it's just kind of a different school of philosophy that he's in. I don't think necessarily that he just saw Kucherov or whatever, that kind of. And so I guess I'm saying that I'm trying to give him more credit than just looking at something similar.
The Carolina Hurricanes are one of the best teams at drafting in the league, like top 3.
I'm saying philosophically. I'm just saying philosophically is all.
If they're philosophically the same, the Sharks would be top 3 in the league at drafting.
No, that can be hits. Sometimes you get hits and stuff.
Russians. That's what they do.
The Sharks have too. Actually, Doug Jr. has too. Like, all I'm saying is it's a skill focus. Focus is all, and its size is not as much of a concern, which is a Carolina thing,
and for
right?
some reason, he didn't pick Lane Dam Hudson with 2 draft picks that he had, even after
that's fair. That's a fair. That's a fair thing to wonder about.
And
what
we never
they
know.
saw
We never
in
know.
Havlid. Yeah.
He didn't pick Lane Hudson.
Okay, so I've got 8 minutes here. Oh, go ahead, though, Zubair. You want to finish off the Doug Jr.
You're
talk?
right, Phil. Oh yeah, no, I would just say like we'll get more into the Carolina thing because I'll. That's an interesting conversation, but
I agree.
They do have size too, and maybe you could do that.
I'm just saying that again, it's not just one or the other. Like the Sharks drafted size under Doug Jr. too. Dylan Hamiluk, a very bad pick, but it just agrees. It's just like they might trend a little more this way. If all things are equal, they might go a little more skill. That would be Doug Jr. That would be Carolina maybe.
Montreal.
With the Sharks though now, right? If it's all things equal, maybe they'll go a little more size because that's what it's kind of trended toward, right? But of course, the Sharks drafted Cagnoni, so it's not like this is like one or the other thing. But anyway, that's the point I'm trying to make.
But now if we go into the Morehouse Greer regime, then we're thinking about like they pick the best person on the board more objectively, I find. Then hey, we like this profile, we're going.
I think that's really
what I think they do.
Anyway,
I think the difference between the two is I think Morehouse and like if you're comparing the two drafting styles, Morehouse is more they pick personnel and players based off of types. They pick archetypes way more than Doug Wilson Jr. did. They don't just pick like the highest skill guy. They don't just pick the guy with the most skill. They pick the guy that they see as a player in an XYZ role. And that's an interesting draft philosophy. It's not, I mean, they've done great. They they've had a lot of really good picks because they've had a lot of high picks. But no, they pick guys like Svoboda, they pick guys like Wetch, they pick guys like Teddy Mutryn even. And
We can
seen
spend
some good
hours
things.
on this because
They pick
in.
good roles, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, we will.
Doug Jr. drafted Weatherby, very Swoboda type. He drafted Hamaluk, who could have ended up in that kind of that Wetch power.
True.
Well, maybe
He's
not
more
the
of a
same
power
exact
forward
style,
guy.
but. Anyway, though, yeah, let's move on because I literally do have 5 minutes. I gotta catch a flight. So yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I'll pivot to one of my favorite quotes from Hasso. That was not a knock on anybody, but a positive, which was in response to Mike Greer. And it was a question that you had asked Sheng about, how frequently do you speak with Mike? And Hasso said a couple of times a week, and he went on to expand a little bit. And one of the favorite quotes that I had, which is something that, with the way that Greer has been running the San Jose Sharks under his regime, which I really appreciate, is, he said he's very stable and well-founded in decision-making. And as a leader, as a business owner, as anyone, as a manager, as a doctor, anything, like, what a compliment. If you're well-founded in decision-making and stable, I don't think there's it's one of the highest compliments you could get everyone. And that was one of the things that Hasso said that really stood out to me and I really appreciated. And that's something that I've always felt about, my career as a general manager. I think you've alluded to some things that you think, Sheng, that he could have done better with E.C. Mont and Granlund but you know what, you can see clearly what he's doing and what he's trying to do, and I feel the same way, at least from our perspective. I love that quote.
My closing thought about everything that he said, and it's a question I asked Hasso. I asked Hasso, why don't you do this more? The fans love it. And he actually gave a great answer. He's like, yeah, I hear what you're saying. That's the quote where I don't remember the exact thing he said to me, but he's like, yeah, it felt good to do this. I think it was that quote where he said, yeah, it felt good to do this. It felt like it was time to do this. The fans needed to hear it. And that's what I told Jonathan Becker this. I told everybody in Sharks PR through all the bad years that the fans wanted to and needed to hear from Hasso. And I understand what Hasso says that I don't want to come to games because the team was losing. The team was shit, basically. I understand that. I don't want to watch this team sometimes too. But I think though that I hope he does this more. I don't agree with everything he said, which is clearly what I'm relaying here. But I think that the fans need to hear from him. Maybe not every year. There might be a little too much truth here. It becomes counteractive when you're truth bombing everything. But maybe don't let 10 years go by though. Maybe 3 years, 4 years, or whatever. Have a check-in like that. But I want to get really briefly into Vincent Iorio. And so before I do that, though, I want to give Keegan just the last thought. Any last thoughts about Hasso?
Oh, wow. I got the last words. No more McKenna, which is hilarious. I think that was an excellent. No, we're not taking for McKenna. If we get it, we get him. Let's finish 10th worst and still get McKenna. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do the
Let's
Islanders.
get McKenna and become the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I love it. Great idea. I really loved how candid he was, how much he knows, just that he follows kind of just like a fan, and it's amazing. He speaks some of the words that I would say if I didn't have to be filtered on a podcast or it's he talks sometimes like a guy on the internet talks about the Sharks, and I think that's hilarious, and I love it, and he should do it more.
Oh my God! So I just got reminded of one more quote. Curtis asked him, I believe, what do you are you willing to spend to the cap? And he was like, yeah, if the Sharks are competing, and I think the words he used was play good hockey again. And if people, and he's like, I could use some help from the fans to come back, and he's like, as you know, I'm retired, I'll come back. And I love that he said that, Keegan, because he did feel like a fan. He's like, I got a big TV at home.
I don't need to go.
I can watch at home, I can replay, but unless the fans are chanting Nabby, that kind of energy again, and this will kind of hurt me in game one, is because that energy was there in game one.
Yes. Yeah,
Keegan, I wish you could have been there. Dude,
it looked amazing. Yeah.
Dude, it was packed. It felt good again. And that's where I really wanted him to win. And that's where I really, and we'll talk about this later because Schenger's got to go, but we got to start winning some hockey games here.
Yep. All right,
Yeah,
Sheng.
I think,
Iorio.
I guess.
Or
Iorio.
Well, I'm gonna have one closing thought like this. Sorry to take the closing thought from you, Keegan, but so
good.
everything what Hasso said, the story, what I wrote, right, was like. And because my favorite thing from him was actually when he's like, yeah, I was upset when I found out Sam Dickinson wasn't playing, but you know the coach that makes the decisions, and so that's how I framed my entire like introduction or my tweet promoting the story that this billionaire, he's just like you. And,
Yeah, he literally is.
Yeah. So
That's amazing.
that's what I thought was really cool.
Shit, I got one more good quote from him.
Okay.
This is one of my favorites. All right, well, I know this one. He was like, they're just 18. They're just allowed to drink a beer.
That's another one. There's so many good ones. I told a lot of people, this is the
not
best
in
Sharks
Germany.
interview since Evander Kane called Ryan Reeves the Muffin Man. But anyway, okay. So quick thought about Vincent Iorio.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
mention it because we promised it. So I reached out to a couple of scouts. I'm gonna write a story about it. But basically, though, what the Sharks have acquired here, just so you guys know, is at least according to her. So that's a big part of why they added him. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out for you guys who wanted information about Vincent Iorio. We can talk more about him next week. And then one more thing I am going to do here is because I promised this too. I promised caps. And I just want to do a quick drawing.
did.
So 5 caps, right? So I just want to do the 5 names really quick. These are all people who subscribe, who asked questions of Dan Boyle last week. And I'm just going to do the random drawing right here. The names, I have a random drawer of everybody who asked questions. I'm going to mix it up right now. Oh, okay. Hold on. I need to do so. Okay, there you go. Yeah,
Sorry.
add a little of that. Thank you.
Whoever wins the corduroy one, shoot us an email. I'll trade you for something. We'll figure it out. We'll barter. We'll make a deal. Let's make something happen. I love that corduroy hat.
It is great, right?
got?
It is great. Okay.
That's great.
Okay, so actually this random thing I'm doing is giving me a countdown. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
2, 1.
Okay, so the 5 winners in order, and so 1 through 5, 1 will get first choice, and we'll move down the line for these 5 caps, which I showed last time. Number 1 is Stefan Schwartz. Number 2 is Falloon. Number 3 is Yuri. Number 4 is Finco, and number 5 is GH. So okay, so anyway. That's
Awesome.
it for the episode this week. Thank you, guys. I know we had to kind of run through it a little quickly because I got to catch a flight. Dan Boyle's got to go pick up his kids. Zubair is in Mexico. And so anyway,
Oh yeah, well,
thanks again, guys.
I think Zubair is going to read
Yeah.
a few more things from his mailbag, but then we'll.
Oh, you guys wanna stay
you,
on? I
Sheng,
gotta
you can
go.
go. We'll stay
I
on.
got to go. So, okay.
Yeah.
That work? Okay,
You
then.
know,
So,
Zubair
guys,
and I are having a
I'll see you in a
great
bit.
time.
Okay,
Yeah,
you guys are having a good time.
exactly.
So you can talk shit about me right now. So,
No, we
all right,
won't.
guys.
Love you,
You-
Sheng.
Okay,
Love
all
you,
right,
Sheng.
I'm headed out. Guys.
Love it.
I love
Sheng
it.
was, Sheng was ripping through those.
He was like bam, 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 bam. I
Yeah.
think also I think Falloon was the person who asked about the I don't want to misquote, but was the does Jumbo and Patty have it? I think it was Falloon. So
Oh, really?
I think
Nice.
if it wasn't, and I'm misattributing to it, either way you want a cap. So good for you, buddy.
Yeah, good for you.
That was the quote
Nice.
that Boyle was most taken aback from. Was that one? So
Right?
we did have a few questions for you, Zubair, because you're newest to the podcast, and then fans have asked us a bajillion questions, me and Sheng. So you've got questions.
All right, let's go to them. Let's see here. I think one was, I'm on the document now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I guess one was, who's a better hockey player, you or your brother? So
Yeah.
I have a younger brother, moved up to the Pacific North, and I think Sheng said this was someone that lives up there and knows him. He's a really good hockey player. He's more, he's faster, he's quicker, I should say. He's got a better offensive touch. In my later years, I grew up playing center, but now I'm a thumper, so I play D. I like to quarterback. So it's hard to say. People have said I'm more annoying to play against. My sort of thing is like I hate being easy to play against. So beer league buddies of mine that listen, like, like I'll make it hard. I may not be the best, but I'll make it hard for you. And that's something that I play with. So I will say when we're together, we're a lot like the Sedines. We play well together. Like, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, when we're together, there is this brother connection where we know where each other are on the ice, like blind passes all day, and we just know where each other are.
Is he D as well, or is he forward?
He plays center mostly.
Center.
Yeah, he's a forward. So we both grew up playing center. He stayed at center. Maybe when he gets my age, he's a bit younger, he'll move to D like me, like the old men.
Yeah, we can't move as far. Can't go up and down the ice as far.
Exactly. Playing winger center when you're my age, it's fucking tiring.
Man.
So, all right. This is a good one. I think this is Gary. So, question for me: who's the best hockey player you've played beer league hockey with? That's a very good question. I guess there's like a couple people that come to mind. I mean, there's some really good beer leaguers that I played with in Southern California and in San Jose. I'd say a buddy of mine, Justin Marler. I think he played juniors. You could probably look him up somewhere, but he's just big, built like a tank, and it just feels like no matter what you do, he has that puck on his stick. You can slash him and try to move him, and the puck he's so strong on the puck. And he's got a wicked shot. He's broken a couple of ankles in beer league for sure. Let's see. There's Patrick Holland is a really good player. He actually got drafted, I believe, by Montreal. I don't know if he got any games in the show, but I do believe he played for the junior team. He's so good. He's one of those players that some players you play with and you think they're really good, but you don't realize how good a player is till you play against them. Mm-hmm. And I'll remember with Patrick, there's a couple of times where you try to get the puck off this guy, and this is probably what it feels like to play against like a Kucherov, like in the pro, where you're like, oh, look, I got this puck. And then you just don't know what the fuck they just did.
Yeah, it's gone.
And then he's controlling it, and you're just like, what? And yeah, like,
I love
and it's amazing. Yeah. And then Scarsborough, this guy I play with too, he actually got pretty mad at me once playing against him, but he's also really good. I think he played pro in Australia. Nick Kawasaki's another shout out. Yeah, probably some of the best players I play with. But it's fucking fun. It's beer league.
Yeah.
Keegan, you ever play?
I did when I was in like high school time frame. But then after that, no. I was a soccer, lacrosse when I was in like
nice.
Junior, senior year kind of time frame. But hockey, I actually lived like right next to a hockey rink, which was why I also like loved skating. It's tough in Florida. Like there's leagues and stuff, but it's not as prevalent as you would think. So I played a little bit, but not enough to call myself even a beer leaguer or anything. So
nice.
But I skate or used to skate all the time, so I do love skating. But gotta get out there, get in an old man league, and be like,
dude, you
just a pylon.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, I would play right shooting, right wing is what I would play when I did play, but it was a long time ago.
I played last night. It was 11:15 game. My flight was this morning, so I got like no sleep last night. And one of the guys on my team was like, he said that he started playing at 45, and his sons got him into playing.
Yeah.
And it's never too late to play, and it's so fun. And I feel like you just see hockey so well that you would be in such good position.
Yep.
That alone would get you really far.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to. I did. I tore my meniscus weightlifting a couple years ago, so my left knee has a torn meniscus that's just kind of like there. So I'm a little hesitant to like do it, but there are, because I live in the Northeast now, like there's just a ton of like old man leagues, and like I could find a way. So I'm going to get into it. It's just got to find the time with the podcast and the job and all that stuff. So
I know that's the hard. I will say there's this like this great meme for adult league that's like I forgot what it is, like the Batman one where he turns away and it's like, it's not for the weak. Like we had an 11:15 game last night.
Yeah.
I got home at 1, then the adrenaline's running. Luckily, I had pre-packed most of my stuff for the flight that I had. Like I had to get to the airport, leave the house at 5 a.m. Went to bed at 2, set the alarm, and you have those nights. But luckily, I have guys that are older than me that are always like, there'd be times where I'm like, I can't, I got a meeting in the morning, and they're like, and these are very people that do well in life that I respect, and they're 55, 60, and they're like, shut the fuck up. Don't be. How many kids do you have, Zubair? I'm like, none. They're like, shut up. Have a beer with the boys.
Go do it. Stay up late.
And I'm like, what? How do you guys do this? They're like, you do. You just do. It's hockey, and then you keep going. So you'll find a way.
I will. It's something that I do want to do. I need to work out and get my physical health better anyway. Because like, job is stressful. I'm trying to eat better, and I would be. I'm 6'1", 180-ish pounds. So like
dude,
we got some.
You're Michael Misa. You got Michael.
I'm Michael
over
Misa
here.
size over here. I would get drafted. How's that? Like if like based on size alone, not skill, not only size, I could get drafted. So
yeah.
I'm a little
Wilson
strict.
Jr. guy, but maybe a Morehouse guy.
I'm not 5'9". I might be a Michael Misa type build, but he's definitely got muscles that I don't. So
that's awesome.
Anyway,
that'll be fun.
what else do we gonna talk about this week?
I guess there was one question that you guys got last week that I thought was a really good one, which was, I think Kevin asked it. What are the best ways for us fans to improve the understanding of the game? I've read a couple of books on scouting and things like that, and I think just one piece of advice that I wanted to throw out there to people is watching like a fan. You watch the puck.
Yep.
Watch off the puck. Everyone knows the stat, like, you only touch any player only touches the puck for, like under a minute a game. I think Connor McDavid is like one of the highest in the league, and it's like a minute 30.
Yeah.
But it's, right? Like, so watch away from the puck and you learn so much. The other thing is like, you watch the details up close, but you watch the systems from up high. And I think that's something that's really helpful. It's fun to go watch the game really close, as low as you can get, as close as you can get. And you see the details of some of the skill. But if you also sit up high and watch the game of hockey and just kind of like look at the colors, not the players, you can really see the beauty of the game play out in terms of systems. And I love that part of the game. So
it's very similar to what I answered to, which was like, the more that you watch, the more that you predict the things that will happen in hockey games, and the more that you're able to predict that. Recognize when the player is doing the thing that you predict he's going to do, or doesn't, and then if he does something you didn't predict and it worked out really well, that's often a good sign. Just like that guy did something I didn't see coming, and also it worked. Like those are the kind of things that over time the patterns in your brain will kind of solidify. So just look for patterns. Don't follow the puck and just like the scoreboard. It doesn't matter. Follow a player. Follow the system. And that's kind of it, because you're right, you don't touch the puck a lot. And also how players get the puck back. This is like my biggest thing. Like everybody in junior hockey gets the puck almost on accident, right? The puck just kind of rims around, it goes around, it gets poke checked, and somebody picks it up. And that's how they get the puck. That way you get the puck never really happens. Like it happens in the NHL, but it's very rare. Like you have to get the puck by winning the puck almost always in the NHL. So just think about that when you watch like a junior hockey player. Is like, how do they get the puck and what do they do with it? If they are never winning a battle to get a puck, it's probably a problem. And that's exactly what like some players do in juniors, is they never have to win a battle. They just are given the puck to them, or it just...
Yeah, I think you bring up a really good point, because this is something that I talked about Misa as a benefit of his, as a quality of his, is that he times entering and supporting the puck so well. Yep. And I noticed that he had those timings in the Carolina game, in his first game. But he didn't have the strength to keep it or win the battle. Mm-hmm. Right, to your point, like, and he will learn that. He'll learn it. He'll get that strength. He'll build it, and he'll get that man strength, and he'll start to win it because his timing is so good.
Yeah, absolutely. His timing is excellent, and that's how he scored a bajillion points in the OHL. Is he can outthink more than anything. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about Misa. It's going to be a little bit of a slow burn, I think, even more so than like maybe not more than Will Smith, but and I love what Will Smith's been doing too. Like there's things that he needs to improve on, and I think they moved him down a bit, but his playmaking off the half wall is still like excellent.
Yeah.
It's so good. He's such a good playmaker. His vision is excellent. So super excited to have him.
Oh, absolutely. And he does that delay where he draws guys in. Yep. He freezes people in that moment. Yeah, you're right. He'll get it. He had a couple of good chances too. He just didn't finish on.
Yeah.
There was that one through the crease in the Carolina game, I think on the power play that Toffoli fed him. And he kind of muffined the shot, but he'll get those touches, The
coolest goal that they've scored so far, to me, is just because you don't see it a lot, is Smith passed through a defender towards Toffoli, and Toffoli shot it coming from behind him, which was the coolest thing. It never happens in the NHL where the puck is going from behind, and he just...
Yes.
Just the coolest goal. Like, just because it's not like something that the setup is never there in that way in the NHL. And it was just, he timed it perfectly. And he's a great shooter, obviously, so he could do that kind of thing. But it's just such a hard thing to do where you could, time it coming at you, the puck from behind you. Beautiful goal. I love that. It's such a fun, fun goal.
Dude, I love that you said that. That's Toffoli's touch, right? Like, he just has that. But you know something else to your point about Toffoli as captain? So in the Carolina game, something that I thought that was kind of interesting was when Warsofsky called the timeout. Toffoli was on the ice the first shift after that, and he was just throwing his body.
Yeah.
And I love that. Like, that's not something that I know him to do a lot, but as a leader, and I was like, all right, I thought about you. I was like, all right, Keegan, I can see captain material here.
He's the A for every game, right? Like he's the one that like the other four guys are A's in certain scenarios. So I'm calling him the pseudo captain, and then they just want to name Celebrini captain next year. They don't want to take it from Toffoli. That's the only thing. That's probably
exactly.
That's my sneaky suspicion. I have no insider information. Nobody quote me on any of that. But
I wouldn't be mad at all. I mean, it would be great. But
anyway,
awesome. All right.
We got
any
hockey
other thoughts
tonight, but not Sharks hockey. But I'm excited for some more games tonight.
Who are you watching tonight?
Let's see. I think Oilers Islanders would be fun because Schaefer's having a good go of it, and I think that'll be interesting. He's a monster, and I
Dude, he's insane.
His skating is so good. It's insane.
Dude, it's unreal. Did you see that back check in the preseason on Michkov?
Yeah, and like there's just been a bunch of plays like that where his skating is unreal. And
Jesus.
He's like he just turned 18 too, so like there's so much runway with that kid that I think they really lucked into a good one with that one.
Dude, and his swagger, he's just so confident.
I know.
Like and this is where it's hard not to think about, okay? But like when you see him, you're like, I wish we win the lottery.
I know. Because he looks like Celebrini, but a defenseman. Like he's just that like confident and that good of a skater, and like he can transition so well. Yeah.
I 100% agree. But he's also playing defense.
I know.
He's playing good D too. And the thing that's interesting with him, though, I'm happy. I'm just happy for the kid. I like his personality.
Yeah, I like him too.
His story, and so I'm happy for him. And but what's amazing is and this is something that I think that my thought went in this way when I saw Schaefer is, Patrick Waugh's like giving him opportunities, and he's giving him confidence, and he's giving him chances. And Boyle talks about this a lot. And when I saw Dickinson, like I told you, like I saw that nervousness in him, and that sort of trepidation. I just hope that the development team and he has the mind for it. I really believe that. I think he's just got a very strong mind to handle it. But I really hope that they give him the confidence to go out there and play his offensive transition game as well.
Yeah.
Okay, you lost a couple. Pat him on the back and be like, and they probably are, but I just hope they are, because Dickinson's so much better than what we saw, and he's going to take time to learn the pace in the game.
Yeah.
And so, I just saw him nervous, and I don't want him to be.
Yeah, and like I said, it was just such it was just such very specific junior mistakes that like I'm not mad about it because it's like one of his first games, and like I think they're correctable. Like he tried to like tuck the puck underneath Nedeljkovic to cover it instead of just like whacking the puck away. Then it was like, you could tell his brain was thinking, okay, I could just kind of like shove it in here, the play will end, and then he's like, oh shit, I'm getting checked, and the puck's in the net.
I know exactly.
Exactly. Shit. So like I think it's going to be reps, but it's just those little things that his brain, and it's good. I mean, he's wired to play, and this is also why he doesn't need to play in the OHL. It's like if you go back, those are the only patterns that you're gonna see over and over again, are the things that you can make mistakes on like that. And he needs to play and take the lumps. And you believe in the skating and the skill and the strength and the size enough that I think he'll make it. It's just it's going to take some time. So I hope they figure it out. And it's really an unfortunate situation because I think he would do super great in the AHL, taking these lumps and taking this like half step, but he can't. So
he
it
can't.
is what it is.
And you know, something else that comes to mind as you say that is Carolina and the NHL. It's like a puck's in the crease, like guys are going full steam into the crease to bury. And I want the Sharks to get out of this funk that they've been in for years. And I think, you know, from the management too, is and I talked about this a couple times already on this podcast, to get out of it. I think about the game last year against the Panthers when the Panthers came to San Jose. I was at that game, and I think the Sharks were down like 6-1 or something like, and they were just destroying us. I mean, this is Stanley Cup champs, and they were hungrier. They were like, we want 7 goals, and they did get a 7, and they were just like they were crashing our net, they were whacking our goalie, and they were just relentless. Yeah. And the Sharks, like, you know, that momentum tends to go like that, and I think they're in their own heads a little bit. You can kind of see it. And they just need to go out there and be hungry and initiate. And
that first game against Vegas was such a good game. They played such 100%. A good game, and that's what bothers me. Is like it felt like a different Sharks team, and like you mentioned, it was like this looks different, and we've seen it for years now. Like the same thing. This looked different for a game. I want that again. Bring it back.
We'll get there. I just wanted to break this funk, so that like we can see the swagger of Celebrini, and the swagger of Dickinson, because they got it. This team's got it. They I think they do have the right blend. And I did not think about Sheng's point, but I really liked his point about the veterans. You know, the onus responsibility is on the veterans that you bring in to pull them out of these funks.
They've got to. They got to do it.
They got to do it. So, Utah's a good team this year, by the way.
Yeah, that's a fun team to watch.
That was a fun team to watch.
Yeah, I love Logan Cooley. I don't think he's had a great start, but they've got Gunther. They've got they have Simisha playing high up now too. I think in their lineup from a few years ago that they drafted in that 23 class. Yeah, he's playing high up in their lineup too. So, and Sergachev, and good team. And they got Paterka. Good team. I've been watching a lot of Buffalo, just to, I don't know, torture myself. And not
what's going on there right now? I know. It's like people are freaking out, and they should.
Yeah, it's not a good time. They won last night, I think. They did, they won against Ottawa. But basically just the most Sabres thing in the world happened, and Josh Norris gets injured game 1, and they lose like 3 games in a row.
God damn it.
It's like, anyway, I don't know. I find this like fascination with different teams at different times, and Buffalo is one of those ones this year that I really thought they had something, but man, that was a rough start.
Well, hopefully there's some good opportunity to capitalize on some good people getting out of there. That'd be pretty nice for the Sharks. They got some good D over there.
Yeah, they could use a Bowen Byram for sure. They could use they could.
They could use a lot over there. So I don't know. Hopefully they start selling it for scraps. But I don't think they
for
will.
Our benefit. I think they'll just probably get a new GM at some point.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
All right, y'all.
This is a fun episode.
I know. I'm having a great time. I think the start of the season makes me happy. I don't know about you.
Yeah. We got to do a prospects run with you next time and see what you're seeing with all the prospects. Because there's a lot of movement, and the Kudos got a lot of games going on. So it's been fun to see.
We'll hopefully do like a short segment maybe next week on I wanted to pick like 3 prospects, but maybe it'll be like 2 or 1. Just some sort of prospect rundown thing. So
Yeah, that sounds good. I think the most important thing is like what I noticed is from the whole entire thing of watching the CUDA is the power play. Watching that power play, I was kind of like, I'm looking at the Sharks' future PP2.
Maybe.
And
yeah.
it was kind of a cool thought. Like you had Luka piggybacking like Halton and Chernyshov and Musty, Karlsson back there. And I was like, is this just PP2 future Sharks?
Maybe.
It was kind of exciting. So
at least some of them.
We'll get
for
into
sure.
it. Yeah.
All right. See,
All right,
enjoy Cabo or Mexico, wherever you're in Mexico.
We'll do. I had
man.
one of the friends I'm with just come and bring me this out if you didn't hear it. So cheers, buddy.
Beautiful. I'm going to go get myself one and watch some hockey. Hope you all have a good week. We'll see you later on.
See you, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.